harshin agus fo-thiotalan go SpeakGaelic. Welcome back to SpeakGaelic as we continue learning the language together. Now, today's programme has a domestic theme. Anndra, the home. Anndra. We're going to be focusing on words and phrases that you can use to describe your home, wherever you live. Perhaps you live in a flat, or maybe you live in a mansion, and if you do, nach bilingual. Nach bilingual is today's phrase, and it's another one of those Gaelic idioms that gets a bit lost in translation. Literally, how yellow for you, and it means lucky you. And I have to admit it's one of my own particular favourites. Nach bilingual. Now let's see what's ahead of us in the next half hour. Some useful household vocabulary.
Han siomr cattle ac y môr.
Calum Maclean takes us to quite an exceptional building. How to say which room you're in.
Ha office ag Anndra?
Ha mi out to for
And we'll meet Gaelic learner Andrew Ditton, whose love of the language encouraged him to move. So, let's get started and speak Gaelic together. A bhfuil sibh. Are you ready? A bhfuil sibh. Now, since our focus today is on Anndra, if someone asked you, Coinnichidh ha ailltireachd, they're asking, what's your house like? Coinnichidh ha ailltireachd. Ailltireachd, your house. Ailltireachd. Coinnichidh ha ailltireachd. What's your house like? You could answer by describing it. If it's big, you could say, ha mór. It's big. Ha mór. Or if it's small, ha big. It's small. Ha big. Big. You could also describe it using the phrase she, followed by whatever you want to say, a haun. It's a something. She and whatever you want to say, a haun. For example, she ty mór a haun. It's a big house. She ty mór a haun. Or if it's not a big house, she ty big a haun. It's a small house. She ty big a haun. But we have to be careful with this one because ty big is the Gaelic for toilet. Ty big. Here are some other useful words. Siomr Shruighlea, sitting room. Siomr Shruighlea. A bedroom. Siomr Cadail. Siomr Cadail. And if you're lucky enough to have one, Gàidhlig, garden. Gàidhlig. Now, if you're telling someone about your house, you can use the word acum that we learned in our previous episode to talk about having. Acum. So you could say, ha siomr Shruighlea acum. I have a sitting room. Ha siomr Shruighlea acum. If you have two bedrooms, it's ha da siomr Cadail acum. I have two bedrooms. Ha da siomr Cadail acum. And if you have a garden, ha Gàidhlig acum. I have a garden. Ha Gàidhlig acum. Let's listen to some of these words and phrases being used in this conversation.
Hello, Granny. Cymra hashiv.
Oh, that dost. Hallo. De. Hallo.
Hallo, Shinshiv. Cymra hashiv.
Oh, hami guma. Tapaleif. Cymra hashiv heen.
Hashin gadoyal. Thank.
Agus a varstan. Coinnichidh ha ty agad colch.
Han tai bria, Granny. Agus hai môr.
A fel garag agad.
Ha?
Agus chuirise háin seo mar cattle agad colch.
Han siomer cattle ac y môr. Ha da lepi awn agus da uniac. Uniac fec agus uniac fôr. Ha da gorym
A fele,
Agus y granny. Ha da hei bec awn sy'n tair.
ha sin ma,
Agus?
Ha siomer cattle awn gaib.
cafele dy farstan. Agus y fari, chuirise háin garag colch.
Cheery granny.
Cheery y farstan.
Ha Gàidhlig briacing.
O ha sin bria, agus môr. Ha tor chryfan awn sy garag.
Ha tor cryfyn aws y Gàidhlig.
Charo cryfan awn sy garag ac yn an y liwys. Agus charo da haich bec ac yn.
Did you recognise any of the words or phrases we heard there? Granny asked Marshthing, Coinnichidh ha an toirt colch. What's your new house like? Coinnichidh ha an toirt colch. And he replied, Han toirt bhruidhinn. The new house is lovely. Han toirt bhruidhinn. Marshthing also gave us a description of his bedroom. Han siomer cattle ac y môr. My bedroom is big. Han siomer cattle ac y môr. He then went on to describe it. Ha da lepi awn. There are 2 beds in it. Ha da lepi awn. And agus da uniac. And 2 windows. Agus da uniac. We also heard the Gaelic for a toilet. Toirt, and a garden. Gàidhlig. Let's listen again to some of that conversation.
De farstan, chuirise háin toirt agad colch.
Han bria y granny agus hei môr.
A fel garag agad.
Ha?
Agus chuirise háin seo mar cattle agad colch.
Han siomer cattle ac y môr. Ha da lepi awn agus da uniac. Uniac fec agus uniac fôr. Ha da gorym
A fele,
Agus y granny. Ha da hei bec awn sy'n tair.
ha sin ma,
Agus?
Ha siomer cattle awn gaib.
cafele dy farstan.
You'll find supporting materials and information about language classes on our website, as well as in our podcasts, which you can download from BBC Sounds. Now, I've been joined by Andrew Ditton, another one of our fantastic Gaelic learners. But before we start talking about his learning journey, let's find out a bit more about him.
Come on, dude. Hello, it's Misha Anndra Ditton. Hello, I'm Andrew Ditton. Sound the Dover ha mi vohus. I'm originally from Dover. Ach, chamianish emol gachi yanu and an eish. Conlady mochu Dougal. Go dude. Dolle via shul. Agus she shin a hook autumn Gaelic-ionnsachaidh. I was particularly drawn to the Scottish Islands, and I thought that learning Gaelic would help me figure out why. Dolle via clachig mo chuch Gaelic sna coirsnacken an an Uist. Dapelet. One benefit to living on an island is that there is plenty of wind. I'm a keen kite surfer, and there's lots of opportunity here. Dolle via mwy, agus a clachig na harenjach mo chuirstorm. Hanil Shian Kolach Rish. Before moving to Uist, I worked on Eurostar trains between London, Paris and Brussels. Ha uiagam haast aan een treinigen, agus bimia toggle men a vrela. Nowadays, I'm working as a writer and I post videos of my travels with my caravan on YouTube. And I thought I'd just check in with you and let you know what we've been up to and what we're doing. Dócha gan déan mi videos sa Gaelic cuideach, ach chanel mi mishnachol galore has. It's being outside and in the world that really appeals to me. A fadach or an falavanish, a so more roam.
Well, Anndra, fáilteoirt to speak Gaelic. Cymar how?
Ha mi gadol tapalet.
And can you tell us, when did you first hear about Gaelic?
I first heard Gaelic in 2009 on my first trip to the Western Isles when I went to the Isle of Lewis. And I was met by a very lovely photographer from Stornoway, Leila Angus, and she took me around the island and showed me the Gaelic signage and so on. And then I heard the Gaelic and I was captivated.
And when did you actually start learning Gaelic and how did you go about it?
I decided to learn Gaelic and I did the usual thing, checked online, found Cursa Intrigi through Sol Mordostig, and the rest is history.
Yeah. And how has it helped your learning to be living in a Gaelic-speaking community?
It's great because I've got some brilliant neighbours like Catriona Curry or my friend Alice or her parents, John and Lena McCouche, and they always speak to me in Gaelic. So even if I'm tired and I don't feel like it, I've got to speak it. And that's great. And they're very patient. The people I find are very patient and give me the opportunity to find the words when I lose the words. So now I have to speak Gaelic with my neighbours because they know I speak it and I'm not off the hook anymore.
And that's the best way to do it.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Now, we saw you recording videos. Do you think you'll be able to record some soon in Gaelic?
I've often thought about it and it's just my confidence sort of stops me because it's very hard. People can be quite defensive of their own Gaelic, and if they hear a different Gaelic or they hear that you've made a mistake, it's there and it's there for time eternal. In an English video I made once, I referred to Uist as the Uists. And I've never been allowed to forget it.
Yeah.
So it's maybe one day.
I really hope you will, and please don't let that put you off. We're all learning and we're all making mistakes. Now, tell us, is it true that you did your Eurostar announcements in Gaelic?
It is. When I worked on Eurostar, I was at a course with Solmor Ostig and my tutor, Katrina Nickenthur, she helped me translate a few announcements in Gaelic, and it was brilliant because even though you had to make announcements in English, French and Dutch, people still appreciated hearing the Gaelic, and sometimes they wouldn't know what it was and they would ask you. So it opened a dialogue. What was that language? Oh, and then you talk about Gaelic, how important it is. And it was really great. And I even met some people from the Isle of Lewis through it because they said, oh, who made those announcements? We see this guy. And then I went to go and visit them next time I went to Lewis.
Oh, that is just wonderful. I love that.
So it opens doors, Joy. It's brilliant.
And we definitely want more of that.
Yes.
Now, do you have a favourite Gaelic word or phrase?
I do, and I think that word is ciannalas. It means, there's no translation into English, but it kind of means homesickness or longing for a place. And I feel so strongly about the islands that I have that feeling. I used to stand on the back of that Calmac ferry when I was leaving, bawling my eyes out because the ciannalas was so strong. And when I was at home down south, when I lived down south, I was always watching BBC Alaba or listening to Radio Nangail to be connected with the islands because the ciannalas was so strong. And I personally, and this might be a little bit controversial, I don't think you can feel ciannalas about anywhere else but Scotland.
Well, Ciat MacIlleathain, Anndra, thank you so much for coming to talk to us. And you have to do those videos in Gaelic sometime in the future.
Okay, okay, that's a deal.
Now, it's time to leave the studio behind for a while and join Calum MacIlleathain, Calum Maclean, as he takes us to yet another lovely part of Scotland. Nach Buiaga, lucky him. nach Buíoga. And this time he's been to visit quite an incredible building.
New York is known as the Big Apple. Atlanta is the Big Peach. Where I am right now should be known as the Big Pineapple. Why? Because this wonderful building, this toirt, looks like a pineapple, an annan. The Airth pineapple near in Ailltireachd, Falkirk in Ailltireachd was built for the 4th Earl of Dunmore, John Murray, in the mid to late 1770s. This building was a taith saori, a summer house, taith saori, for the Earl's wife, Lady Charlotte. Time to find out more about this toirt from head gardener Louise Arnott.
Do you know why it was built in the first place?
We're not quite sure. It's possibly just been built as a folly. John Murray, the 4th Earl, went to represent his country in the colonies. He was governor of Virginia, New York and the Bahamas at various points in the mid to late 1700s. And there's some connection with the eastern seaboard and pineapples being a symbol of welcome and of friendship. It seems to have come from sailors. It was a means of letting the world know that they were back from their voyages. It was stuck on gateposts or on the doorsteps or whatnot. But you don't necessarily know where it came from. How did that myth or tradition start? It kind of gets lost in time. It's fine quality stone. It's not had an awful lot of work done to it in those years since it was constructed, which leads me to think it's been designed and built by masters rather than just local stonemasons.
It's funny to think that something as familiar to us as an annan, pineapple, could have meant so much to people in the past. And you can even eat it.
And it can be a topic that really divides people. It can be quite controversial. Pineapple on a pizza, yes or no?
If I want my own, yeah, ham and pineapple is, it's not necessarily a first choice, but if I'm with friends, it's a definite no.
The annin, that's plural for annan, annin, were so precious in those days that quite often people wouldn't even eat them. They would just look at them as though they were a piece of art. Or maybe some flowers. For you, Joy.
Mór an taing a chadam. Thank you, Calum. You really are too kind. Is fuireach flúireachd. I love flowers. Is fuireach flúireachd. What a fantastic building. And not only have we brushed up on our historical knowledge, Calum's helped us build on our vocabulary. We now know that toirt is a building, annan is a pineapple, and annin is the plural, pineapples. Annin. And don't forget that you can follow more of Calum's adventures online and on our social media platforms. Now it's time to speak some more Gaelic. A bhfuil sibh díseal? Are you ready? Earlier on, we learned some phrases and vocabulary relating to the home. But how would you ask or tell where you or someone else was in the house? You would say, Cá te bhfuilú? Where are you? Cá te bhfuilú? In episode 2, when we were talking about where people live, we used the phrase aonsa or aonsan, in the. Aonsa or aonsan. For example, to say you live in Fort William, an Gàidhlig, you would say ha mi a fuireach aonsa Gàidhlig. I live in Fort William. Ha mi a fuireach aonsa Gàidhlig. Do you remember how the word Gàidhlig changed following the phrase aonsa? Instead of an Gàidhlig, we say aonsa Gàidhlig. Aonsa Gàidhlig. And we can apply this in a very similar way to the words we learned earlier. Kitchen is the Gaelic for kitchen. Kitchen. And to say you're in the kitchen, it's aonsa kitchen. In the the kitchen? Ailltireachd. Another word that also changes like this is Gàidhlig, garden. Gàidhlig. So if you're in the garden, it's a-nise, in the garden. A-nise. However, we do something different with words beginning with an S, such as Siorrachd, bedroom. Siorrachd. Instead of softening or leniting the S, we add a T sound, so sh becomes ch. Siorrachd becomes a-nise, in the bedroom. A-nise. You can find more examples of this on our website, but for now, let's listen to some of these phrases being used in conversation.
Hallo Alice, hallo a-Caitríona, hallo a-Hamish.
Latin fa Anndra.
A-Caitríona, have you out to kitchen?
Ha, Sean kitchen acum. Han offish acum aus a kitchen.
Well, offish agat, Sir Hamish.
Chanel offish acum Alice. Ha mi ansan tionndadh V.
Ha offish ag Anndra.
Ha mi out to know for shackum. Han offish big a high blah. Alice, catch you a lucid.
Ha mi ansan tionndadh acum. Han flat shaw food. Coidichidh tionndadh Coinnichidh.
She flat a haun. Ha mi a fuireach an flat. Ha keir Siorrachd Becca an. Kitchen. Seumannan. Siorrachd agus bic. Bic.
Ha mi shaw food an flat good job.
Give Siorrachd.
Ha 3 Siorrachd agus bic mór.
Ha Gàidhlig agus ha Gàidhlig acumsa. A chan tai fuar.
Cúri se ha an ailltireachd coltach Anndra.
Han tai seo mór. Han offish big a ha kitchen, Siorrachd, da hei big, garage, agus Gàidhlig acum.
Fel an tai acad blah.
Han tai acum blah, agus coscal.
A bhfuil learngaelic.
Did you recognise the words and phrases there? Let's look at some of them again. Anndra asked Caitríona, "Avilu ansa kitchen?" Are you in the kitchen? Avilu ansa kitchen? And she replied, "Ha, Sean kitchen acum." Yes, this is my kitchen. Ha, Sean kitchen acum. Alice asked Seamus, "Avil offish acatsa?" Do you have an office? Avil offish acatsa? But he told her that he didn't. Ha mi aunsan tionndadh V. I'm in the dining room. Ha mi aunsan tionndadh V. We also heard Anndra asking Alice, "Catch avil usa?" Where are you? Catch avil usa? And she replied, "Ha mi aunsan tionndadh acum." I'm in my bedroom. Ha mi aunsan tionndadh acum. You can watch all of the conversations in the series, accompanied by bilingual transcriptions, on our website. But let's listen again to some of that conversation.
Hallo Alice, hallo a-Caitríona, hallo a-Hamish.
Latin fa Anndra.
A-Caitríona, have you out to kitchen?
Ha, Sean kitchen acum. Han offish acum aus a kitchen.
Well, offish agat, Sir Hamish.
Chanel offish acum Alice. Ha mi ansan tionndadh V.
Alice, catch you a lucid.
Ha mi ansan tionndadh acum. Han flat shaw food. Coidichidh Coinnichidh.
She flat a haun. Ha mi a fuireach an flat. Ha keir Siorrachd Becca an. Kitchen. Siorrachd. Siomar catil agus tai bec. Bec.
Lenition causes consonants to change. In gleva, very good, the M softens to a V. In glevik, very small, the B of bake changes to V. S lenites to a H sound. Savach, quiet, becomes glehavach, very quiet. But S changes after the word the. It hardens to a T. Strach is a street, but untrach is the street. Slender S, sh, as in sheche, weather, hardens to ch and becomes uncheche, the weather. So remember, when you're reading in Gaelic and you see T-S, you'll need to ignore the S and jump straight from the T to the rest of the word. These rules can sometimes take a while to master, but you're not on your own. You'll find supporting materials online, as well as information about Gaelic language classes you can join. And don't forget the Learn Gaelic dictionary, which lets you listen to how the Gaelic words are pronounced. There's a link to it on our website. Now let's have a quick look at some of what we've covered. Coinnichidh and toirt colloch. What's your house like? Coinnichidh and toirt colloch. And some possible responses. Hai mór. It's big. Hai mór. Or if it's small, hai bake. It's small. Hai bake. You can describe your house using she. For example, she tui mór a haun. It's a big house. She tui mór a haun. We also learned how to ask Ca Chivilu. Where are you? Ca Chivilu. And the response is Ha mi aunsen or Ha mi aunse. I'm in the, followed by whichever room it is. Agus ha mishe aunsen studio. I'm in the studio. Ha mishe aunsen studio. But not for much longer. Remember that you can watch all of the programmes in this series on BBC iPlayer. Listen to our podcasts on BBC Sounds, and you can find us on all of the usual social media platforms where you can connect with others who also want to speak Gaelic. Until next time, Cheery and Drasta.